Welcome back to Wicked Auto. So we finally have the material we've been waiting for. I mentioned in the last video, it's the exhaust. So this truck, 6.2, should sound amazing. Stock, it does not. Anybody that's watching this probably has one. Maybe you're just curious. You should know by now that the stock exhaust doesn't give you that throaty sound that this engine deserves. So you have to go find one. The top, Corsa, Borla, AWE. You can always do a muffler delete, just change out the muffler itself. Flowmaster 40 Super 8, I believe, is one of them, whatever it is. So you can always do those little things, and it may give you the sound that you want. But my personal opinion, as many others share, AWE is the best one you can get. So anybody that's has been following the channel knows that I put the AWE exhaust on the F-150 that we built. And for a V6, it made it sound amazing. Of course, you always have the people, oh, it's no V8. Well, no shit, it's a V6. It's not gonna sound like a V8. But for the specific engine, you can make it sound good or it can sound bad. You get a 4-cylinder, obviously it's gonna sound like a little lawnmower running around, but it can sound good for a 4-cylinder. V6 can sound good for a V6. V8 sound good for a V8. You get my point. AWE is the best, period. Well, it doesn't matter what the engine is. So that's my opinion that I shared with many others. That's why I went with AWE. So it is a little pricey. I'm not going to lie about that. But you get what you pay for, right? Sometimes that is true, and in this fact, it is true. So AWE, pricey, more expensive than Borla even, which surprises me. Borla, don't be wrong, Borla is a nice sounding exhaust. It is. I'm not going to bash Borla in any way. They have great sounding exhausts. Sometimes they're a little too loud. What is it? The touring one is just leave the stock one on. I mean, you're not making that big of a difference in sound. You're not going to get enough from performance just for the exhaust to justify the cost for not getting any sound. Corsa, I listened to quite a few of the 6.2 with the Corsa. It just, yeah, no. It's going to be between Borla and AWE for the best sound. So the quality is what you're getting with AWE over Borla, and that's where the price comes in. So let's take a look at it first. I've already unboxed it, laid it out to make sure I had all the parts, which of course I do. So let's take a look and go through what sets AWE apart, right? Okay, so here's the parts laying out. I'm going to pull the truck in the garage, of course, so I don't have to work on the inclined driveway here. But so front to back, all the pieces, minus the ends here where the tips go in. I have them sitting up here. Didn't feel like adding the extra. I mean, it's not that big of a deal. So while we're looking at this is one of the things that sets AWE apart is their 180 technology. So that is patented by AWE, and it's their 180 drone canceling. Like I said, if you followed along, I've already had an AWE exhaust previously, and I can speak from experience, there is zero drone. Driving down through a neighborhood or 90 down the highway, it doesn't matter. There's not going to be any drone with this. Now, this setup is the dual 3-inch Catback. They did do this specifically for the AT4X and the ZR2. This is not just any 6.2 engine. You can just throw this on. I mean, you can try it, but it is specifically AT4X ZR2. You do see here that it tailored the H-pipe for this truck to make sure it has the refined V8 tone that you want to hear getting exhaust in the first place for a V8. You want to hear that muscly growl. It is handcrafted CNC mandrel bent tubing, T304L steel, the whole thing. Now the pieces, of course, the exhaust there, you get this giant bag of clamps to use. The tips, you do get the little bag of bolts here, because with the tips, once you put them on this, it is ball and socket joint, so it's actually adjustable, so you can angle your tips a little bit differently if you choose how it looks for your truck and your bumper. And I mean, you can change out your bumpers, remove the bumper, whatever. So you can get it in, of course, this is all just how that's going to look. The tips, chrome, diamond black, or the bash guard, which comes factory with the AT4X, or yeah, AT4X and the ZR2. You know, they have the bash guard ends where it's tucked up underneath the bumper. You can keep that with AWE. You can get either one of those 3 tips from them. So with this exhaust, if you watch any videos, I mean, you're looking up exhaust videos, you should watch as many as possible. So Borla and AWE, in my opinion, are the loudest exhausts you're going to get. Now, of course, with Borla, you have the, Touring Sport and Attack. AWE, it's this one. But the difference is, I mean, there's plenty. Let's just compare, I guess, the Sport and Attack to the AWE. So the Sport does give you a little bit of throatiness. It is nice at cold start, sounds really good. Running, it's not, doesn't give you that growl that most are looking for. The Attack, it does, but it gives it to you all the time, and it's going to kill your neighbors are going to want to kill you. AWE, best of both worlds. So cold start, it is freaking awesome, right? While you're running, it's still awesome. And you don't get the drone. So, I mean, you can't beat it. It's the best of the entire world, right? You get the quiet enough for the neighborhood to where your neighbors don't want to kill you, but yet it's also loud enough when you need it to, or want it to be, to have some fun. Let's see, it's a straight through design. They do have a perfect fitment guarantee. So each pipe, how it's bent, how it goes together, guaranteed perfect fitment. Also guaranteed to not cause a check engine light, which is kind of a big deal. I mean, the exhaust can cause a check engine light, whether it's leaking, which is probably the most likely scenario. Maybe something's up with the muffler and it's not getting the correct flow through, check engine light. Guaranteed no check engine light. And just for peace of mind, which is a big favorite of mine, lifetime warranty for the AWE exhaust. Lifetime. Now that we've talked about it, let's get a listen. I mean, you're going through exhaust sounds. Either, like I said, you have one, or you're interested in just seeing how amazing this truck sounds. Let's wait till this diesel goes by. They obviously have theirs done. So let's take a look listen to the stock, just so we can compare. Okay, so it's not the quietest on the planet. You go buy a Honda, Hyundai, Kia, whatever. Obviously, it's going to be a lot quieter. The Ram EcoDiesel I had was quieter than that. However, it still does not give you that rumble that you want when you have this monster V8 engine. So that's why we're going to put this on. So let's go ahead and do the install. Hopefully we can get this done before dark. I can have it done today and don't have to mess with it again tomorrow. It's supposed to cool down tomorrow. So let's get this done. Roll into it. Okay, so where we're at so far. Apparently the first step to remove the factory exhaust, you have to drop the spare and remove the heat shield. I'm assuming it's the driver's side to be able to get that angle away, make it easier to get that bolt right there. So that's dropped. For the spare, put your key in, right? Pull that out, then use your extensions for your jack and lug nuts. To get in there, you need 2 of the extensions, and then just unscrew it and your spare drops. But the heat shield, 6 bolts, and they're a 13. Now, the actual step. So, is the exhaust. You gotta come up here to the front. Whoop. Slow crawl under here with me. So you need to do the first clamp, right? So there's going up, there's your cat. Move towards the back of the truck. The first clamp that actually, from the cat to the exhaust, you have to undo. Luckily, mine is upside down. The bolt's on the top. So thanks to whoever built this particular truck and did that. I appreciate that. But again, 13, I'm going to go ahead and loosen up that bolt. And then we should be able to just pull the entire exhaust out laying on the ground. I don't know how that's going to work, how easy it's going to be. But I went ahead and WD-40'd each one of the hangers to try to help it come out. There's 5 of them in total. One right here, the other one on the other side of that giant muffler, or 2. Yeah, 1, 2, and then 2 on the ends, and then 1 actually right by that, right before the passenger side rear tire. So all 5 WD-40 to make them easier. Let's undo this bolt and see if we can jimmy it out. Okay. So getting the factory exhaust out is a bit of a pain in the ass. Granted, I thought today would be perfect. The exhaust showed up today, perfect day, 70 degrees today. Well, if you can't tell, I'm now sweating. I should have waited till it was cold, apparently. Getting the factory exhaust out on the ground is a pain in the ass. So I ended up cutting the factory exhaust. Let's take a look. So, after you get the mounts all pulled and all of that, you pull it out the back, right? Well, you can't get this giant ass muffler up over the rear axle, especially with the angle on the front piece that connects to the cat, and then of course the angle's coming out the rear. So I just cut it right there, right on the rear side of the muffler, pulled the front, pulled the front, pulled the back. Now we reinstall the spare tire and the heat shield and then put on the new exhaust. That should be quite easy. So you just shove that wire back through the rim on the spare, tighten it back up right there, bolt back on the heat shield. Actually, probably heat shield first. Yeah, heat shield first, then the tire. And then these are going to be easy just to piece it together. This is the best part. So, but you actually do got to cut. So let's see if we can get up underneath here and take a look. Okay, so now we got to do more cutting, right? So let's get under here. And so it's from the weld on each side, driver and passenger. The instructions, one of them is 2 5/16, and the other one is 2 3/4. So it's driver side 2 5/16, passenger 2 3/4. From the weld up is where you're going to cut to get their exhaust to fit. Make sure you measure it accurately. Measure twice, cut once, right? Then make sure your cut is straight. Okay, you don't want it to be angled or something funky. Your exhaust is not going to fit right, of course, right? Make sure it's cut right. Take your time. Don't rush through this part. Okay, so we are now under here, ready to cut this. So passenger side, like I said, from that 2 3/4 from the weld. So I did from the outside of the weld, right? Outside edge towards the rear of the truck of the weld, 2 3/4. Made a line. It actually meets up on the inside edge of the next weld, right on that inside edge for the passenger side. Driver's side is 2 5/16. Did the same thing from the outside edge. So this is metal. So obviously, if you've been following along, I'm not a big safety guy. But metal, you wear your gloves. Like I said, I'm just doing that more or less for the exhaust. It's the only reason I had them out in the first place, but metal, why not? And safety glasses. Your eyes are important. Wear the safety glasses when you're cutting with metal. So I'm going to speed this up so you're not listening to all this, but filmed it so you can watch. All right. So again, get it as straight as you can. All right, so they're cut. I want to add, while it's on my mind. So the driver's side is angled, right? So let's take a look at this piece. So it's sitting like this. That is the driver's side. So it's on a curve. I cut it straight with the curve. I did not cut it straight with the truck. So we will see if it's supposed to be straight with the truck or straight with the curve. I guess we're going to find out, because as soon as you cut that piece out, it's time to install the new one. Of course, actually, make sure there's no burrs up underneath there on your pieces that you just cut coming from the cat. Round, smooth those edges out a little bit. I just used a file, make sure there's no sharp edges or burrs left on there. Now, one thing that AWE that makes it really nice that they do is each one is labeled. 13, there's 14, 15, then 16, there, 17, 18. So that, of course, follows along in their instructions. It makes it really easy. That's how I'm able to set it out like this so simply. So this shorter, straighter-ish piece is passenger side. This is the driver side. To come and make that loop towards the passenger side, because they're going to end up coming straight out side by side. So let's go ahead and see about getting these put in. Okay, so as you can tell, it's quite a bit later. Bad back, doing it yourself on the ground sucks. Let me tell you that. But it's in. So I get I didn't film putting the new exhaust on. It's just putting pieces in, right? You just put it in. No big deal. I think you can figure that part out. I did the removal of the stock, which is the hardest part. Putting the new one together from AWE, super simple. You just follow their instructions, put them together. That easy. So now I'm about to tighten everything up. Do not tighten everything up until you're done. Now, once you get to the ass end, you're going to need to at least snug it. So the driver's side is kind of hanging at the moment in two different pieces. It's not staying connected because it's so loose, which I'm not worried about. But it's time to tighten. So now we're going to the front of the truck to tighten up all the clamps, put it together, and the only thing that's left is the tips. Turn this here. Let me grab the flashlight so you can actually see what the hell's going on. Okay, so that's the piece of the exhaust coming over from the driver's side and it going the whole way down. Obviously, they're not going to touch right there. Again, I have to tighten it up. Everything's loose. You can see the part hanging there on the ground. That's where it keeps coming apart because nothing is tight, which is the right thing to do. You don't want to tighten it down and, oh, it's not at the right angle that you need. Leave them loose until you're done. So let's go ahead and tighten this up. Okay, so it is the next day. It's only been started to move out of the garage and back it up to there. So it's the next afternoon, 16-ish hours, somewhere around there, where it has not been started. Absolutely the cold start. I think it's around 50 degrees, 45 to 50 degrees. So definitely cold. Let's see how it sounds. It's amazing. I'm glad I'm not getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning anymore. Leave for work. God, that sounds good. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Step over here to the side. See, and then it calms down to that perfect growl. God. Oh, that's beautiful. All right, let's do some sound clips and wrap up the video. All right, so we're just going out of the neighborhood. Window is down. Okay, so you guys can hear what it, try to get an accurate sound without that metal rolling around the back. See the RPMs? That would be good. Nice little rumble with the window down. Obviously, I'm in through the neighborhood, so I'm not going to go that fast. We're about out here, and I'll step on it. All right. Once I'm up to speed, there's nothing, right? All right, so you saw that, I hit 3,000 RPMs, I think. Now this is with the window up. Then once you hit your speed, your cruising speed, it's nice and quiet. There's no drone. That's that nice thing about AWE. Oh, it's beautiful. Let me know what you guys think. Like I said, I'll leave the link in the description. My recommendation, absolutely, if you're looking for an exhaust, get the AWE. Doesn't matter what your engine, vehicle, get AWE. Like, subscribe. See y'all next time.